Welcome back to This Day in Irish History. I'm your host, Raymond Welsh. Before we dive into today's story, if you'd like to explore other significant events that happened on this day in Irish history, visit thisdayirishhistory.com. The link is in the episode description. Now, let's journey back to April 30th, 1795, when Reverend William Jackson, a journalist, clergyman, and covert agent of the United Irishmen, was found guilty of high treason in a Dublin courtroom. But what followed would be one of the most dramatic and tragic moments in the story of Ireland's fight for freedom. William Jackson was born in Newtownards, County Down, in 1737 and ordained in the Church of Ireland. He initially built a career as a preacher in England and then pivoted toward journalism and political commentary. He became known for his radical, anti-government views and was soon involved with key figures in the revolutionary circles of the day. The ideals of liberty, equality, and fraternity sweeping across France had ignited hopes for similar upheavals across Europe, including in Ireland. Jackson embraced these ideals fervently. By the early 1790s, Ireland was gripped by political unrest. The Society of United Irishmen, founded in 1791, sought to unite Catholics, Protestants, and dissenters in the cause of reform, and ultimately, Republican revolution. Jackson, by now living in France, aligned himself with the exiled leadership of the United Irishmen, and even served as an intermediary between Irish revolutionaries and the French Directory. His mission was both daring and dangerous: to travel to Ireland under a false identity, assess the revolutionary fervour on the ground, and report back to France on the country's readiness for rebellion and the potential for a French invasion. In 1794, Jackson arrived in Dublin, posing as a journalist. He met with several prominent figures sympathetic to the United Irish cause, including Theobald Wolfe Tone. Unfortunately for Jackson, one of his contacts, John Cockayne, was an informer working for the British authorities. Cockayne betrayed him, providing damning evidence of Jackson's mission and revealing his correspondence with the French. Jackson was arrested in April 1794 and held in Newgate Prison in Dublin. His trial dragged on for over a year, a prolonged ordeal marked by public fascination and intense scrutiny. Jackson, ever the composed figure, maintained his innocence while also refusing to implicate his comrades. On April 30th, 1795, the verdict came down. Guilty of high treason, the penalty for which was death by hanging, drawing, and quartering. What happened next has become legend. Moments after hearing the verdict, Jackson collapsed. He had smuggled poison into the courtroom, likely arsenic, and taken it just before the judgment was delivered. He died soon after, in a dramatic and deliberate act meant to deprive the British state of the satisfaction of executing him, and to inspire those who would continue the fight for Irish liberty. His death stunned observers and immediately cast him as a martyr. Jackson's act of defiance, choosing his own end rather than submitting to execution, symbolized the growing desperation and determination of the United Irishmen. It underscored the high stakes of the revolutionary movement and intensified public interest in the ideals of republicanism and national sovereignty. In the years that followed, the United Irishmen would launch a full-scale rebellion in 1798, supported in part by the same French government Jackson had tried to enlist. Though the rebellion would fail, the seeds of change had been sown. Jackson's story became part of the broader tapestry of sacrifice and idealism that would fuel Irish nationalism for generations. Today, Reverend William Jackson is remembered not only as a victim of political intrigue, but as a man who believed so deeply in the cause of Irish self-determination that he paid the ultimate price to avoid being used as a tool of state repression. His courtroom suicide remains one of the most dramatic episodes in the history of Irish resistance to British rule. Thank you for joining me on this journey through Ireland's rich past. Please like and subscribe, and until next time, I'm Raymond Welsh. Slán go Foil.